Name's Emily Parker. I'm 31 years old, and if you ask people around here, they'd probably say I've got a good life. Steady job, nice apartment in the city, a circle of friends who keep me busy. But if you peel back that surface, you'd see a truth I've been running from for years. This story isn't about success, or freedom, or chasing dreams. No, it's about the one person I should have held closest, but instead I pushed away. My mother. See, I grew up in a small town outside Indianapolis. It was just me and her. My dad left when I was barely 3, so I never really remembered him. Mom was everything: provider, protector, teacher. She worked long hours as a nurse, came home exhausted, but somehow always found the strength to sit at the table with me, help me with homework, or cook my favorite meal even if all she wanted was to sleep. But back then, I didn't see the sacrifices. I saw rules. I saw restrictions. I saw someone holding me back. And as I got older, the resentment grew. I wanted freedom, independence, my own life. And I told myself the only way to get it was to leave her behind. The night I walked away from a house for the last time still lives in my memory. She stood at the doorway, her hand on the frame, eyes soft but heavy. She didn't beg me to stay, but I could feel the words trembling on her lips. And I just turned and left. No hug, no goodbye worth remembering. And that was the start of the biggest mistake of my life. When I first moved to the city, it felt like freedom. No curfews, no questions, no one checking if I ate or came home on time. I filled my days with work and my nights with friends, convincing myself that I was finally living the life I deserved. Mom would call, of course. At first, every evening, just small things. Asking if I'd eaten, if I was sleeping well, if my boss was treating me right. I'd answer half-heartedly, distracted, sometimes even annoyed. "Mum, I'm busy," I'd say, brushing her off like her concern was some kind of burden. Weeks turned into months and the calls came less often. Sometimes I wouldn't even pick up, telling myself I'd call her back later. But I rarely did. I thought she'd always be there, waiting, just like she always had. Then one evening, after a long day at work, I scrolled through my phone and saw I had 5 missed calls from her. 5. My first thought wasn't worry. It was irritation. I actually rolled my eyes, muttering to myself about how overbearing she could be. I didn't call back that night. The next morning, she left me a voicemail. Her voice was soft, tired, but still gentle. She said, "I just wanted to hear your voice, honey. I miss you." I remember listening to that message on the bus ride to work, my stomach twisting, but instead of calling her back, I shoved my phone in my bag and looked out the window, trying to ignore the guilt gnawing at me. Looking back now, I'd give anything to hit that call button. Life in the city moved fast. Work deadlines, late-night takeout, endless scrolling through social media. It all kept me distracted. I'd tell myself I was too tired to call, too busy to visit. After all, wasn't I building something bigger for myself? Wasn't this what I always wanted? But the truth was, every now and then I'd feel this ache. It came in quiet moments, when I sat down to eat dinner alone, or when I got sick and there was no one to bring me soup, or when I walked past a mother holding her daughter's hand on the sidewalk. I started noticing the little things I used to take for granted. How Mom would leave the porch light on until I got home, no matter how late it was. How she always knew when something was wrong, even when I didn't say a word. How she'd cook my favorite meal after a long week just to see me smile. But instead of reaching out, I buried those feelings. I kept telling myself, I'll call her tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into next week, and next week turned into months. One night, I went out with friends. We laughed, drank, and posted pictures that made life look perfect. But when I got home, the apartment felt colder than ever. I sat there staring at my phone, her name glowing on the screen in my recent calls list, and for the first time, the silence felt unbearable. Still, I didn't call. Pride is a dangerous thing. It was a Sunday morning when my phone rang. I almost didn't pick up. I'd been sleeping in after a long week, but something in my chest told me to answer. It wasn't Mom. It was my Aunt Linda. Her voice was shaky, and before she even said the words, I knew something was wrong. "Emily, your mum's in the hospital." My heart dropped. She told me Mom had collapsed while working in the garden. The doctors said it was her heart. She was stable for now, but they weren't sure what the next few days would bring. I remember sitting there frozen, the world around me going silent. All those nights I told myself I was too busy. All those tomorrows I promised myself, they came crashing down in that moment. I threw clothes into a bag, booked the first bus ticket I could find, and prayed the whole way home that I wasn't already too late. When I walked into that hospital room and saw her lying there, pale, tired, with wires and monitors surrounding her, I felt something break inside me. She looked up at me, managed the faintest smile, and whispered, "You came." And that's when the guilt hit me harder than anything I'd ever felt before. I pulled a chair close to her bed, my hands trembling as I reached for hers. Her skin felt cold, fragile, like she could slip away at any moment. "I'm sorry, Mom," I whispered, tears spilling before I could stop them. "I should have been here. I should have called more." She just squeezed my hand lightly, her eyes soft, forgiving in a way I didn't deserve. "Emily," she said, her voice weak but steady, "you're here now." That's what matters. I wanted to believe her. But deep down, I knew the truth. I'd missed so much. Birthdays, holidays, nights she must have sat alone at the kitchen table waiting for me to call. The days that followed were a blur of hospital visits, long talks by her bedside, and silent moments where I just watched her breathe, terrified of what might come next. Sometimes she drifted off mid-conversation, her body too tired to keep up, but I stayed. For once, I didn't let life or excuses pull me away. And in those quiet hours, I started to realize something. Love isn't about grand gestures or perfect timing. It's about showing up, even when it's messy, even when it's late. One night, I sat by her side, the machines humming softly, casting a cold rhythm in the room. I couldn't stop staring at her. This woman who had raised me, protected me, sacrificed so much so I could chase dreams I thought were more important than family. Her breathing grew shallow, and for the first time I felt real fear. Fear that she might leave before I ever truly made things right. My chest tightened and I whispered, "Please don't go, Mom." "Not yet. I still need you." Memories flooded in, her laughter echoing in the kitchen, the way she brushed my hair when I was little, the way she waited up for me when I was late, no matter how tired she was. Every memory felt like a knife, reminding me of how often I chose everything else over her. A nurse came in to check on her, and I panicked, asking if she'd be okay. The nurse just gave me a gentle look, the kind that says more than words ever could. I knew then that time was slipping away faster than I wanted to admit. So I leaned closer, holding her hand tighter, and said through my tears, "Mom, I wasted so much time, but I swear to you, I won't waste another moment. You're my everything." Her eyes fluttered open, just barely, and for a moment I thought I was imagining it. But then her gaze met mine, weak but steady, and I felt like a child again, like she could see right through me. Her voice was soft, broken, but every word cut deep. "Emily, I never needed perfection. I just needed you. That's all I ever wanted." I broke down completely. All the walls I had built, all the excuses I had made for putting her second, they crumbled in that instant. I pressed my forehead against her hand, tears soaking into her skin, and whispered over and over, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." She squeezed my hand, faint but certain, as if she was telling me she forgave me long before I even asked. And in that moment I realized that no career, no dream, no amount of success could ever compare to this. The unconditional love of a mother who never gave up on her daughter. That night, sitting by her side, I felt both shattered and whole. Shattered by guilt, but whole because she was still here, still fighting, still reminding me that I hadn't lost my chance. Not yet. The next morning, when the first light slipped through the hospital blinds, I made a promise to myself. I wasn't going to leave her side again. Not for work, not for friends, not for anything. I called my boss and told him I wouldn't be coming back for a while. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel afraid of losing a job or disappointing someone at work. The only person I couldn't afford to disappoint anymore was lying right in front of me. Day after day, I sat with her. I read her favorite books out loud, even when her eyes were closed. I brushed her hair gently, the way she used to brush mine before school. I fed her soup, held her hand, and sometimes just sat in silence listening to the faint rhythm of her breathing. Slowly she began to get stronger. Her voice came back little by little, and one afternoon she looked at me with tears in her eyes and whispered, "You've come home, Emily." And she was right. I had finally come home. Not to a place, but to her, to where I always belonged. One evening, weeks later, we sat on the porch together. She was still weak, wrapped in a blanket, but her spirit seemed stronger than ever. The sun was setting, painting the sky with shades of gold and purple, and she turned to me with a softness in her eyes I'll never forget. "Emily," she said, "life isn't about chasing everything out there. It's about holding on to what you already have. I didn't need you to be rich or perfect or famous. I just needed you to sit here with me, like this." I swallowed hard, tears stinging my eyes. For years I had been running, trying to prove myself to the world, when all along the only person I needed to prove myself to was the woman sitting beside me. I reached for her hand and promised her that from now on, she wouldn't come second to anything. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. Not the peace of achieving something out there in the world, but the peace of finally understanding what love really meant. Her smile in that moment told me everything. I had broken her heart once, but now, maybe, just maybe, I was starting to mend it. Years later, after she was gone, I often found myself sitting on that same porch alone. The house felt quieter, the air heavier, but her presence never really left. Sometimes I'd catch myself reaching for the chair beside me, half expecting her to be there, humming softly like she used to. I kept her blanket, the one she always wrapped around herself, folded neatly on the armrest. And whenever I touched it, I was reminded of the warmth I had almost lost forever because of my own pride. If there's one thing her life and her love taught me, it's this. Success means nothing if the people you love aren't there to share it with you. You can chase the world and still come home empty-handed, but when you cherish the ones who truly matter, you'll never feel poor. I tell this story not because it's easy, but because I wish someone had told it to me when I was younger. Maybe I would have made different choices. Maybe I would have seen sooner what really mattered. But if you're listening now, don't wait until it's too late. Don't walk away from the people who love you unconditionally, because once they're gone, all the apologies in the world won't bring them back.